Before I watched this film, my favorite boys' love or shonen-ai story was Sekaiichi Hatsukoi, which is one of the most popular anime BL adaptations to ever come out. As the years went by and I watched more of these romantic stories between men, I never thought that I would find another that I would love as much. I would never find another that gave me those same fuzzy warm feelings in my heart and cheeks. To me, all other BL anime adaptations seemed either generic or catering to extreme fantasies. Sure, many of them also made me feel warm, but none of them was ever as potent as that first time I saw those two boys kiss. Something about it touched me deeply. It was different from the various other kisses I had seen up until that point, from romantic movies and shows. Many of these generic, but some had every single element it needed for me to feel those butterflies in my stomach. But even still, I felt nothing. For the longest time, I thought there was something wrong with me. Why am I not feeling like everyone else does? I even started to lose hope that I would ever get those tingly sensations everyone else around me seemed to be feeling. But then, in my teens, I was introduced to yaoi and everything changed. Something about the first love between these two characters seemed so innocent and pure, and that's what, in the end, got me so hooked into the genre. I was attracted to that pureness and bishonen beauty of the variety of different ukes. However, even if the fantasies were all fun, I could never fully immerse myself into them, because they were so extremely unrealistic. But then, many years after I watched my first BL show, and many years of being jaded by the same old thing, there was finally an adaptation of a BL that was not only realistic, but I was completely able to fully immerse myself in both protagonists. And that BL was Doukyuusei. On the surface, Doukyuusei is nothing more than a summer boys' love story. But even if it has that basic formula, in 1 hour, this movie was able to present it in such a beautiful, heartwarming way that, to me, blew almost every romance I've ever seen out of proportion, especially when it came to shonen-ai. This story about two classmates that fell in love despite being completely different is portrayed to me in an extremely realistic fashion with the most relatable BL characters I've ever witnessed. Hikaru Kusakabe, who despite being a guitar player in a band, portrays none of the stereotypes of that character. He's a very artistic and empathetic soul that contains a kind, calm personality despite being extroverted. And although I can't say that Rihito Sajo doesn't follow any of the introverted, nerdy, studious kinds of characters, he is still different in the sense that he is as equally open-minded, kind, and intelligent as Kusakabe, which is what I believe made their natural attraction towards each other blossom. Not to mention all of the unexplainable aspects that create that attraction, of course. Throughout the movie, there are little moments where the viewer can notice that, the way it's portrayed, Kusakabe and Sajo can talk about almost anything with each other. That's just how comfortable they are. The reason why I find these protagonists so relatable is that I personally have aspects of both of their personalities. Despite both characters seeming so different, there are aspects that connect them both, and just like that is true, it also brings up the topic of the complexities of personalities. In my case, when I wish to, I am just as flirtatious and confident as Kusakabe. Not to mention having very similar tastes in music and interest in art, especially poetry. However, like Sajo, I was never popular at school, since I was considered an outsider, an alien, or, as Kusakabe's friend likes to put it,
サジョってジャンル違うじゃん俺らと
Luckily, I did find at least one real friend along the lines, however, which ironically was just as popular as Kusakabe, but for different reason and different personality. The entire thematic and energy that comes from the film revolves completely around the themes of summer love, which is strongly portrayed by its simplistic watercolor art style animation and breathtaking soft guitar musical pieces which I fell just as deeply in love for as the story and characters. The relaxing music brings about all of the emotions relating to summer that a younger me could not stop listening to over and over again. They were guitar energies that I was never able to find an equal to either. It brings images of relaxation, cicadas, mellow yet energy-draining quietness, delicateness, melting heat. Many summer loves are the first of many individuals, and that was definitely the case for our main leads. But with first love also comes a lot of inexperience, moments of emotional immaturity and arguments, most of which come from moments of miscommunication that came from insecurities, misunderstandings and assumptions, which is completely natural for any couple to have, even if they do have experience. But because of their youth, seeing how they fix the mistakes they make by moments of sincerity and apologizing is utmost satisfying, considering that even experienced couples have difficulty with such things. And it's also realistic because even though these young men are imperfect, flawed individuals like all of us, they are also emotionally intelligent, which I feel like many older people can learn from. In the beginning of the film, like many young men, Kusakabe didn't really think about his subconsciously developing emotions. The realization that he was in love with Sajo hit him as suddenly as a truck from an isekai. It started off as a misunderstanding of Sajo's reasons for trying so hard to sing well, to a kiss that happened from instinctual strong emotion that came from a simple touch of Sajo's hand, to accidentally crying once again from the thoughts of his misunderstanding. But aside from the form, Kusakabe was the most mature out of the boys. But despite that, out of both, Sajo was the one with, and in most need of, character development, which the movie thankfully obliged in giving. Starting out with an innocent, submissive shy boy who doesn't know what he wants, not being honest with himself, to someone able to lean on and kiss Kusakabe himself. Our protagonists, both with different journeys, had one thing in common: the innocence and sincerity of pure love and the success of working out, developing, and maturing their emotions. And that fact that they both evolved to me was the most satisfying thing in the entire story. Speaking of satisfying, the first things that caught my attention towards this film were its very erotic, sexy kisses, and the delicate, soft moments of touching, caressing, and blushing. Because I, of course, am no saint. As an experienced yaoi viewer, I won't deny that this is the thing most of us primarily look for in the BL genre. If I may be perfectly sincere, this film to me has the most satisfying moments in any yaoi or BL I've ever seen. So much that in my youth, I would watch them over and over again. Those demonstrations of physical affection were as relaxing and pleasant to me as the concept of summer love that centralizes the entire film. Doukyuusei has its moments of comedy, like one of the teachers being overweight and named Hashimoto, which was particularly amusing to me since I have the same condition. It's also filled with imagery, like when we notice in one scene where Kusakabe, previously shown to only casually smoke, has inhaled a much larger number of cigarettes before having a very serious conversation with Sajo. But the one thing that is most prominent in this story is the big overarching metaphor of the color lemon yellow. In various periods of the film, Sajo and Kusakabe can be seen drinking fizzy-flavored water soda. The fizziness being an association to the bubbling emotions developing the characters, filling them up inside like hot gas. In the conflicting moment of the film, however, the same soda came out with a lemon flavor, which they drank before having the unpleasant conversation I talked about prior. Lemons are a bittersweet fruit, and so is summer love. It has acidic properties that are the most prominent and detectable when you consume it in any form, but they also have natural sweetness in them. The color lemon yellow is prominent all throughout the movie, but it is more obviously pointed out in Sajo's yellow ribbon dream. In it, he and Kusakabe are tied with said ribbon, which Kusakabe suddenly cuts. It's a shocking moment for Sajo, so he naturally asked why he did it.
同じじゃなくっても違う形に結ばっても面白いんじゃん。それに色は変わんないしさ。
Afterward, Sajo wakes up, lying on Kusakabe's lap. By the end of the film, we don't know exactly how Kusakabe's and Sajo's relationship will work out, and neither do they. But one thing is made very clear. They sincerely love each other with all their hearts. Things will change. Their love will grow and look different from their love that blossomed in that very first summer. But they will change for the better. Because both characters are changing, maturing, and growing for the better.
俺はさ、どういう風に生きても後悔する時はあるし、逆に得るものもあると思ってんだよね。でも今んとこサジョウと別れるって選択肢はないんだ。
僕もない。
Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to support more projects like this, please consider supporting the channel by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this video so that my channel may grow. Moreover, if you are feeling particularly generous, please pledge $1 or any amount you wish to my Ko-fi page. All proceeds will go to the growth of this channel. That being said, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. See you later, cousins. Ta-ta for now.